was a bit higher than it were the other day when we had really good conditions then, didn't we? Everyone was sort of 10 and 15 overnight. But a little bit of QSP on the signals this morning.
Yeah, well, that is true. It is on the UnUn, Frank. As I say, I'm sure there was a solar flare, because I was on up in the night and I thought, flipping heck, there's nothing on 80.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's quite warm as well. Was it 15.1? Quite warm this morning.
I woke up about 2 o'clock this morning. I woke up several times, didn't know, to be honest, and I thought, 80 metres? No, back to sleep.
Well, you done the right thing, mate, I can tell you that.
I'll tell you what, I haven't touched this radio since I switched it off when I was talking to you yesterday morning. I was a dutiful husband yesterday. I took my wife out to lunch.
Well, there you go, mate. You done well talking to me yesterday morning as well.
Yep, we went up Northampton, to tell you the truth. We went up Northampton, had a walk round down the main street and round the market and back through the Grosvenor or whatever it's called, and one thing and another. Then we went for lunch and it was very nice. Really enjoyed it. Nice small steak. No, they were gammon steaks, mate. Oh dear, gammon steaks, mate. They were bloody handsome.
Oh, well, you can't get better than that, mate. Yeah. Martin, they heard me say about the bar.
No, well, did they have a bar in John Radcliffe as well, then?
I'm referencing to the hearing aid. It's called a bar-ha. Oh, dear. Well, actually, Anthony said about a bacon roll, and we went and had one, mate. It was blooming handsome.
That's good. No, my mind was on the booze when you said. I thought, oh, when did you do those? No, how did you get on?
Oh, yes. As I say today, we got on the M40 and just popped off onto the Park and Ride, 15 minutes, onto the bus, 13 minutes, we were dropped right outside the Radcliffe, on the west wing, 50 yards from the entrance, and yeah, absolutely great. You had to get a bit used to it because everybody's echoey a bit, but otherwise, you'll laugh at this, Dave. The missus said, I haven't said to her, what? Well, that's a plus, isn't it?
I say to mine quite regular, what did they say? What did they say talking about on the TV?
Yeah, right. Because I can't flip it here, you see, but obviously I can now. Well,
I'll tell you what.
No, it ain't that. It's only a microsecond delay between the signal being processed and then sending through the skull, like, back to the ear. So the normal ear's hearing the sound and it's getting it as well. Like, so I've got a double. It's a double thing, isn't it?
That sounds interesting, anyway. Yeah, try out or
yes, because it's a fortnight's trial, and they said, oh no. And then she said, not everybody takes to them, mate, so, and there's none so queer as folk, is they? Not everybody takes to it, do they? Some pay £1,000 for them and never wear them, mate.
Yeah, where's the receptor then? Whereabouts is that placed on your head? It's obviously not in your ear, so is it just above or where?
Behind the ear, the transducer sits on your skull, and plugged into that is they call it a processor, and that's about the size of a conker. A small conker. It is absolutely. I mean, it looks like you've got a boil on the back side of your head. It's a tiny bit of kit. Well, it's only as big as your thumb, really. Yeah, about if you look at your thumb, just the little knuckle, that's all it is.
Oh, I've got big arms, so I probably... Yeah, I understand. So if you put headphones on, it'd still pick that up, would it?
Oh, that's the downside. You can't put headphones on with it, no. But of course, I've got you on the speaker, so there's no problem.
Oh, I see, right. Yeah, you can't use headphones, as I say. That's where I was asking whereabouts it was. I mean, if it was somewhere, say somewhere top of your head, you'd have to get some headphones made special.
Actually, they gave me a booklet. You can stream sound from the telly to it with a bit of kit. Oh, I haven't got that. You can adjust the thing on an app on your smartphone. Oh, blimey, I don't think there's anything you can't do.
Well, that's good, isn't it? I mean, don't let anybody check the app, or they'll be messing out with your hearing.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, they only do the drilling of the head. Oh, it's of course, when you come to think about it, if you implant the plug into the skull, you get a direct connection to the skull, I suppose. She said they don't do the glasses, so it's... Anyway, enough from me.
Yeah, no, well, you're happy with that. So that's the main thing, and then you're not going to get sore ear from the hearing aid. Right, brilliant. Right, anybody else about Alan, Roy?
WEF, GCQ, come on.
I want to speak to Alan because we were talking about diabetes yesterday, Alan, in your absence. And I said, right, well, I'll go downstairs.
No, obviously.
And I used Linda's got a fangle dangle one. It's you don't have to put paper in it. It's got a little head on it. You drop your blood on there. Anyway, it was 6.7, so I think that's about spot on, is it?
Sponsor groen, maar dus... Hoppata. Nou ja, dat lijkt me nog weg voor mij. A canal boat that he's got, Stuart.
Sorry?
Paul's got a canal boat. Has he got a narrow boat to play around on the Lancaster Canal?
Yeah, he's got one for a week.
Oh, that'll keep him busy. It's one of the most active holidays we ever had. We did that a couple of times, narrowboat, and it's great fun. Just watch the kids and the dogs don't fall in. The dog did, the kids never did, but the dog fell in and was duly fished out. Other than that, good, Stuart, but being hit by a high-speed coronal stream. MM0CIK, GM for NTL.
Yeah, CIK coming back. Well, the southern uplands have disappeared completely. That cloud is gradually working its way. I can only just about make out the village. So it's not good. And I tell you what I'm not happy about is you climbing that tower. You've given your harness away. Leave it. It's not desperate. Leave it be. Let me fix that luffing cable, and then you can do it with. Well, no, I'll come over and we will do it. No. Oh, I tell you what, there's a big crane just gone up, Jim. Escort vehicles, the lot. I don't know where he's going, but not today, I wouldn't have thought. Somewhere on the top there, it'll be. I should think you wouldn't be able to use the crane. Anyway, big one, a big. I don't know how many wheels it was. I couldn't see how many wheels. I mean, those big ones they had on before were sort of 18-wheelers, weren't they? Huge things. This one wasn't quite in that league, but it was a big one. Diddly-dump. Yes. Yes, it's sort of Jeffrey. I mean, I'll give you the number and you can give him a ring, Jim, and see how he is. He is ex-directory, Tony. I had to do it. I had to be, no, devious is the wrong word, but I had to think on my feet. I eventually found his brother. His brother is in the book, and that's the way I got to him, was to phone his brother and get his brother to pass the message on. And then Jeffrey phoned me, and we exchanged. Well, I got his number. Anything else? And then he's out just feeding the pheasants. They've all turned up. It's looking not very pleasant out there, Jim. I think I'd give it what I missed today out there. I think if you've got the turnbuckle and the clamps, we can do it. It's not going to take that long to do that job, is it? So yeah, we can do it. There's no problem. Well, I'll say it's no problem, but we can find a way of getting it sorted out. But I think I'd leave the tower alone today. If you want the connector put on the end, I'll come and do that for you, and I'll bring the analyzer. We can compare analyzers to see what's going on. But as I say, you're more than welcome to pop in for a tea or coffee when you get your paper, and then we'll talk about that then. Right, back to you. GM4NTL, MM0CIK.
Yes, okay, David. No, I'm loath to phone people up. I don't want to be alarmist. So I would rather try and get Tony to monitor the frequencies than start being alarmist. No, we'll leave it for now and see what transpires. Tony, what I did do yesterday was this beam is not the original 3-element beam that I had in Wiltshire. That one didn't make the trip. It is the same the same design. The original manufacturer was a US fellow who did them in his garage. It was a Bristol BP3, I think it was, or 33, FP33, that's right, an Bristol FP33. And not American, it was German manufacturer. And he retired and handed it over to somebody else, and they're producing them. But what they did do is they put a 1-to-1 balance where the coax enters the beam. To augment that, I put 4 or 5 6-inch turns on the coax. Cable clamp secured it, made it nice and neat, and taped and cable tied it to one of the struts, and it's one of the support struts, and so that's okay. The coax falls away free and there's sufficient loop to use the 360-degree turn from where it is. So everything's ready except this confounded halyard gone and snapped itself. What I didn't do, which I should have done, is put a weight on the halyard to drop it. I didn't do that, but there we go. C'est la vie. Well, when the weather gets conducive, I'll deal with the matter. Other than that, no, it was quite a good day yesterday. Oh dear, I didn't realise there was so much junk in the way of coax lying about there. The length that we took away must have been getting on for 80 feet. A very usable 213, so I've coiled it, and that's secured in the garage. The rest of it I'll put in the dump, I would think. I don't really need it, and it'd be just lying about. Right, G20, G4IOQ, GM4NTL.
Yes, okay, Jim. G4IOQ returning. There's a bit of QRM on the side. It was knocking you about a bit, but okay on what you've been doing there, and every success with sorting it out. But as David says, wait until he's there to give you a hand. All these winches to get things over. Once the luffing side is sorted out, then that should be a lot better. So, David, did I understand then that you got in touch with Jeff's brother, and then he passed Jeff's phone number to you, and then or asked Jeff to call you, and Jeff did speak to you. So have you spoken to Jeff on the phone briefly, David? Is that what you said? Go ahead.
Yes, I did, and it wasn't briefly. It was probably about 25 minutes.
All right, okay, so he is fit and well, he's just a bit busy, is he? Go ahead.
No, what he says is happening is, he's not, I'm not sure it's radio or antenna, he gets the original call in, he hears that, and then at that point, suddenly everything disappears. He doesn't know whether it's a radio fault or an antenna fault. But his son hasn't been able to come and lift the antenna off.
Have you back, and sorry to hear about the bereavement. And well, we know you're a busy man, so there you go. But join us whenever you can. And 7-3 to those that have signed: Trevor, Colin, Brian, and Ray. If you're still listening, guys. And okay, Martin, you announced that you are back. Well, you haven't missed your slot yet. Still a couple before you. So there you go. Presumably you've got some nice elixir in hand or something. Okay with the grapes. Well, Normandy wine. Doesn't sound unusual, but it does when it's UK. So I hope that goes well. Gives you something to do. I'm sure you don't need anything to do. You're a very busy man also. Okay, Roy, on the EMC dish work and removal, well, I was very impressed to see that EMC dish. I've never ever seen another station with a setup like that, and wonderful construction. And saw the certificates on the wall, etc. So well done on that. But as you say, having done it, one moves on. And thank you for the kind words on the construction. There's a lot more information available, Roy, both here. And if you haven't already accessed it, go to the VMARS site, because you also should download the British publications for the 1154. The document I sent you was one that was kindly sent to me by Keith, and I believe it's an Australian version, but it's extremely good. So Keith, I passed that on to Roy, who's got an 1154, 1155 waiting in the wings, so to speak. So round to you then, Roy. G3 ZIG M1 PVC, and then on to Ian in France, please.
Yeah, okay, so I'm Golf 3 Zulu, India Golf. Hope I was not too quick off the mark there. And I'll just give some quick reports. Yeah, Paul, this morning, a lot of QSB on you. At the best, you're an 8, and lots of QSB and noises. Ian, you're 5 and 8 to 9, or you were. Martin, 5 and 6 to 8. Keith, 5 and 7 to 8 with a QSB. Well, a QSB on everybody. Not one of your great strongest mornings, Keith, to be honest, but that's how conditions are. Ray, about a 5 and 7. Colin, TSK, about a 5 and 8. Oh no, 5 and 8 to 9. I think you gave me 5 and 3, but you were 5 and 8 to 9. Trevor was up there at 5 and 9. And Justin, who can't copy me, was a good 5 and 8. So I'm not sure if I got everybody, but that's how I've got down in the log. Just very quick comment. Yes, I'm on the 19th set with the 2-valve 19th set amp to the 80 meter dipole, and where are we? Someone commented on how they don't find time to do anything now, and exactly the same here. Since I've been retired, I've no idea how I had time to go to work. I never seem to have enough time to do these things. And going on to the 11:55:54 comments, yes, thanks very, very much, Paul. And yeah, I have had a look at them. I haven't downloaded them as such at the moment. Well, I say I haven't downloaded them. I haven't printed anything off, but I have had a look on the VMAR site. Also found case information and pictures on there as well. But I have to say, Paul, the receiver, the 1155, or the one I've got up and running, or the one I'm going to use with the 1154, which came with the 1154, is working remarkably well. I'm very, very pleased with that. I'm very surprised how very well that resolved sideband as well. So quite a bit of BFO injection there, I guess. Not sure what the previous owner did to it, but he was very heavily involved with 55s and 54s and 55s, and I know he got he did the ones at Duxford. This is a gentleman who did the ones for the Duxford Museum. Golf 3 Papa Tango Bravo G3 PTB. He wasn't a very active chap really on the air, but that was his sort of line of work. So, but the 54 transmitter, according to his notes which came with it, is untouched. He hasn't done anything with it, and that's in original condition according to the notes. Sadly, he passed away. I don't know, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I guess, and he did say that would come this way. Okay, I'm going to sign out now, fellas, but thanks to the QSO this morning for letting me in, and I'll try and get on again. Well, it'll probably be one day next week now. But thanks to the QSO, and good to work you all, and we'll see what the sun is doing as the day go by, as the days go by, I guess, and stirring things up a bit. Morning all, have a good day. Golf 3 Zulu, India Golf signing, and who was I to pass it to? I think that must be Martin G3YJO. How G3's on IJ?
G3YJ, goes to Ian. Go ahead, Ian.
Yep, okay, Martin, thanks for that. 7-3 Roy, still a good signal from Norfolk, still between 5 and 7 and 5 and 8, so a little bit down on earlier. But Trevor, no problem at all on your signal whatsoever, Trevor, today. Ray's a good signal as well. First thing this morning, not so easy, but it's actually got better, as you predicted, Trevor. Martin, you came up to 15 over 9, maybe a bit more. I wasn't properly paying attention. Colin, 5.9 plus. Paul, 15 over 9. Justin, 5.9 plus. And okay on all your activities, Justin. And I have to make a comment on Pontefract cakes. I do eat the odd licorice also, but it doesn't fill me with joy. Whoever thought of putting licorice into a cake? How can I put this without appearing to be rude? But had let's say, an interesting view of culinary diversion. Let's put it like that. Which is another way of saying that I hate the things, but I'm sure some people love them, and well, you said you do, Paul, and you're welcome. Although you said you're not allowed to eat them, so there you are. You've probably forgotten what they actually taste like. And okay, on the grapes, Martin, that's astonishing, isn't it? And especially on a northbound, rather a north-facing site, I'd rather assume they would be on a south-facing, and they're sweet and red. So I wonder what sort of grapes they are. Be very interested to know what sort of wine they deliver eventually.
I've never made wine, I've never made beer. I have been a victim of some people's wine and beer, which has varied in quality substantially, and I've had one or two wines that I thought were very, very good, and the opposite end of the spectrum as well, and that particularly applied to elderberry, and I'm not quite sure why. And I've had some pretty awful beers and some reasonable ones. I don't think I've ever had something that was stunning, but perhaps I'm just being a bit of an old fusspot. I'm a bitter drinker, really, if I'm not drinking wine or spirits or something else. But the beers, some of the continental beers are okay for a change, but not my day-to-day tipple. Right, we're going to quit. Oh, Keith, I didn't give you a report. 10 over 9, Keith. So excellent signal from up in your neck of the woods. And yes, that's only delving a little into the command set. Nice little set, I must say. Anyway, I'll say 7-3, and from me it does go to you, Martin. I'll be listening for a few minutes. Doing something with bunks at the moment, but I won't be coming back. G3YJO, F4VSC.
Yes, F4VSC, G3YJO. Nice signal, Ian. Still about 15 over 9 with QSB. And good morning also to Roy. A little bit down. I was having to pay attention, so around just about Q5, strength 6. Keith, good signal, and everybody else. So, yeah. And I've no idea what the grape variety is. In fact, I forgot to ask, which I should have done. But it really did surprise me, because this a little note came out on our sort of village website saying that all these grapes have eaten as many as we can manage, and there's some left. Bring a bucket and make some wine out of it. So, all right, okay, I'll do that. So I took along a couple of buckets. But I've never seen, in this country, anything like it. I mean, in fact, if I'd seen the bunches of grapes hanging like that in a Mediterranean country, I would have even commented then. So I was amazed. And I really, after picking, as I say, 21 kilos of grapes, it really hadn't made that much impact on the overall vines, which were on a sort of overhead trestle type thing, anyway, it's amazing, and they're really sweet to eat, sweeter than the shop bought ones. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Making wine, I've done this off and on over the years. It's of variable quality. The wines taste quite different, particularly the sort of country wines. You make them from plums and blackberries and things like this. They are just different, and so you've got to take that, and then you decide whether you like them as being different from what you buy in the shop, so to speak. Beers, I found much more successful, and I've made Doombar and so forth from the kits, and I have to say it's quite difficult to distinguish that from the stuff you get down in the pub. So I found that really quite satisfying. And in a couple of blind tastings with some friends, they couldn't tell the difference either. So I haven't tried any of the heavier bitters, but Doombar, which is sort of not that heavy, is certainly has been quite a successful brew. Let me see. Oh yes, the other comment I made, which I think the time has gone past now, but I think Paul, you said it might have been ex-BAE satellite up at Stevenage. Well, yes, that site went through various hands, from BAE to Marconi's, and now it is part of Airbus. So the satellite was an Airbus satellite. So fingers crossed that the launch goes okay. Right, let me see what else. I think that's about it. And looking at the list, I'm not sure whether Justin and Keith are still with us. Otherwise, it's just Ian and me, Paul, from the numbers of crossings off that I had. And I called back in because I was called away to a phone call briefly. So I missed out a bit in the middle, and I thought it might have gone by. Right, so with that, I'll put it on to Keith. If Keith's not there, Justin picks it up, and if Justin's not there, it's on to you, Paul. G3XGW, G3YJO.
Yeah, G3YJO, G3XGW. Yeah. Well, you're much stronger now, Martin, than you were on your last over, which was half an hour ago. You've gone up to 25/9 or something like that. So conditions have changed, contrary to what you'd expect, I guess, for this time of the morning. And Roy, you were 5/9, a very good signal on the 19 set, and well done on the 11:54, 11:55 acquisition. I hope that goes well. We'll look forward to hearing that in the fullness of time. It'd be nice to get another one on. I think the last net, 11:54, 11:55 net, we attracted at least 8 or 9, maybe more actually, stations using that equipment. So it was quite impressive, really. And Ian, you were also very strong, 15/9. And your hum seems to have disappeared. I don't know if you're on the same setup, but you did have some hum last time, I seem to remember. But that seems to have gone, although I can hear something in the background, although I suspect that might be a fan of some sort. But it sounds very good anyway. And sorry to hear about your Perseus, of course. I think most people have gone. The winemaking, well, yeah, we used to do that actually when we first got married. And with our first house, we inherited a massive number of fruit trees in the garden. One of the previous owners had really gone to town on planting fruit trees and grafting one tree onto another, and when the harvest came round, we just had no idea what to do with all this stuff. So we ended up taking up winemaking with, as everybody, I think, variable results. Some of it was superb, some of it was only worthy of pouring down the sink. So I hope that goes well, and I hope you're going to do it in the traditional way. You and your good lady tramping about with your feet to crush the grapes. I hope we get a picture in the Signal magazine. That'll be something. You have to have a radio in the background to keep it on topic, of course. Anyway, with that thought, I'll wish you all a very good morning. Pontificat cakes, well, they're not cakes. Oh, my wife just showed me a picture of them, and I can remember them. I think they're sweets, really. And they've been taken over by Haribo, from what I can gather. Dear me. Right. Okay, I'll wish you all a very good morning. Nice to hear you all on. Everybody now, Q5, and mostly over the 9, actually. So, I think it probably goes round to you, Justin. And one of the few remaining stations. I didn't say remainers, I was very careful there. GW0FZY, G3XGW.
GW0FZY returning, yep, okay then, Keith. And yeah, brilliant copy, by the way. I mean, I'm on the AR88, so with a rather dodgy S-meter, so it's difficult to give that sort of accurate report, but I would say you're probably 20/9. The other stations that I'd heard, Martin, also very, very strong, coming through very nicely, broadcast quality. And Roy, who I couldn't hear before, also very good. Yeah, just a reflection of the conditions, I guess, but nice to sort of have a much better copy. But there you go. Yeah, homebrew wine. Not done it myself. My granny used to do that quite a lot. She used to live in Worthing, and I used to go back to hers for half term, spend the week there when I was a kid. And I remember going out on the South Downs to get elderflower to make wine, amongst other various things. It wasn't too bad actually. Yeah, I always remember the demijohns in the kitchen sort of plopping away with the little airlock thing. Yeah, I remember that. But not really done it myself. Not really. Don't really have go around picking berries and all that sort of stuff. But interesting. As mentioned, I'm on this on the sort of lower power setup here at the moment. I've got a couple of problems. I seem to have I sort of fix things in the shack, and then another gremlin pops up. I was going to come on the ART13 this morning, and then I switched the power supply on, and then there was an arc on the high voltage transformer. It looks like there's some cabling which is arcing through to ground. So I don't think it's anything serious. I can fix that. So that was one problem, and then the other. I usually come on with my sort of slightly higher power setup, and I think there's a relay that's not changing over in the amp, unfortunately. I was on the air yesterday and talking to Ian G6TVJ, and I think Keith was on as well. I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, and then suddenly I lost the power output. The exciter was working, and then the power just disappeared, and we didn't have any output at all. And it seemed to cure itself, and then it did it again. So I think I'm going to have to dismantle things and have a look inside, see what the problem is. It's amazing how these gremlins keep popping up. You know, just when you think everything's all okay, it starts off again. Anyway, I guess I think everybody's probably gone, so I'll wish everybody 73s. I think it might just be you and me, Paul. But nice to be on, and good to hear everybody. I probably might be on again over the weekend. I'm not doing anything, and hopefully next week is a little bit quieter, so I might have some time to come on the radio. Anyway, I'll put it back to you, Paul, for some final comments. Wish everybody 73s, and I'll put it over to you. M1 PVC from GW0FZY.
G6 TVJ.
Yeah, morning, Ian. I was going to sign, but I'll stay another round. GW0FZY, M1 PVC back, and perhaps you might like to stay just to have a chat with Ian, because I won't be on the air long, guys. But big signal, Justin, and well, the gremlins, they strike us all. I've been struck by gremlins. The last one I had was the HRO 500 solid state rig that I had. Decided to jump about 140k in frequency on the dial because the Wadley loop system went defunct. But we fixed that. It was only a capacitor. It was just a case of finding the wretched thing that had gone short circuit. Anyway, 7-3 to all those that have signed that I haven't acknowledged. Keith, you were a large signal, and Ian. And Ian, if you're still listening, the dongle is in the post and has been for a couple of days, so hopefully that will be with you. Okay, Martin, on the wine making, and exit. And I think you're still with us, so I'll put it round to you in a moment. Not a great deal to add. Ian, if you're still listening, Keith did comment. You changed transmission, so obviously that's where the hum went. But yes, there was still that. I suspect it's an earth loop type hum on your transmission on the KWS one, so that's still with you. So that still needs to be sorted. Anyway, let's put it on to Ian, and Ian, you can bring in Martin, and then it goes to Justin if Justin wishes to stay, and then myself, but I'm going to sign on the next one round. So G6 TVJ, M1 PVC.
M1 PVC, G6 TVJ returning. Yeah, okay, Paul. Thanks very much for that. A very good morning. I only just switched on and just heard the tail end of your conversation, which I often do actually. Perhaps don't quite get out of bed quite early enough. But I just heard a few stations on, so I just thought I'd say hello really, and perhaps give you some reports. You're not bad this morning, Paul. You're about 10 over 9. Perhaps not as strong as sometimes, but not bad. I'll tell you what, I'm curious about Trevor, the Maryland station, PA3BOH, because up until recently I've not been able to really copy him at all. He's always been very weak and down in the noise, but on a number of occasions now I've actually been copying him pretty well, up to about 10 over 9. I don't know if it's just temporary propagation or what, but anyway, very, very happy to report that I can copy some Netherlands stations, perhaps when I couldn't before, so I don't think anything's really changed this end, but there we are. Anyway, I think you said it was round to Martin, so I thought you were disappearing, so I'll just say hello really, but I'll pass it on to G3YJO, I think it might be, from G6TBJ.
Yeah, G6TBJ, G3YJO. Yeah, fine Ian, well, nice signal, 15 over 9, and there's the digital dragon breathing away in the background, but not making any impact on your readability, so that was good. And yes, I shall make this a final. An interesting discussion last night with Bronick, actually, in the pub. He was bewailing the fact that his 813 PA that he's built up doesn't seem to take any good current and doesn't seem to do anything, basically. And he was running it with minus 160 volts on the grid. And I certainly recall that from the 53 here, I'm sure it runs on minus 90, and also without any, and I get about well, sort of 10, 12 grid current, so I'm pretty sure that running sort of minus 160 on the grids is going to switch the thing right off, so probably no surprise that he wasn't getting any good current or much RF out of it. So wait to see when he gets back home as to whether he's checked. He was saying that that's what the data book says, and I have to say I haven't checked it, but I'm sure that sounds far too high, and I'm sure he's probably just switched his 813s right off. Anyway, that just suddenly popped into mind. Pontifract cake. Well, I'm not a great fan of licorice. As far as I'm concerned, it's something that seems to be better used instead of asphalt on the roads, and it's not much to my liking, and Pontifract cake goes rather along with it, so probably better not say any more, otherwise I shall offend those in the Northern Territories. So with that, I think it now goes on to Justin. If you're still with us, Justin, I think you were going, but you might have stayed on. If not, it's Paul, and I'm going to wish everybody 73s it's time for some elixir and get going for the day. So GW0FZY, and a very good morning to you, Ian. GW0FZY, and if not, you, Justin, Paul.
GW0FZY returning. Yes, okay then, Martin. I'm not sure if Paul said that Ian F4 VSC was still on. I'm not sure. I'll just give him a break. Ian F4 VSC, Foxtrot 4 VSC. Are you still on channel? Go ahead. No, I think he's signed. Maybe I was getting confused with you, Ian. But anyway, very good morning to you, Ian. And yeah, nice to hear you. Actually, good signal this morning. You're well, on the AR88, but you're coming through very nice. You're probably about 10 over 9, I would guess. No problems at all.
Be varying so much. The other news is there's quite a bright patch over in the east now, so I don't know if we're going to get a bit of separation. This is quite solid cloud cover that we're...
The 813s there, Martin. Yeah, well, my amp is got two 813s, and it's cathode driven, and but I do have biasing on the grid. And yeah, 150 volts. I've basically got a variable bias set up here, just a heavy duty pot but I certainly am. I'm not 150 volts will cut the valve off, as you correctly say, and I think I've got mine. I've basically adjusted it to get the right idling grid current, which is well, with my setup, I think it's about 20 milliamps per tube. So yeah, that sounds about right, and I think that's probably why Bronick is not getting any power out of his setup there. But good tubes, the 1.3, or the Americans say the 830. Yeah, good set of tubes. Anyway, I'll stay for a few more overs, Ian, as you've just come on, and I think Paul said he was signing. I'm not sure if he's still around. I'll pass it back to you, Paul, if you're still there to make a final, and if you're not there, then Ian, you can pick it up. So over to you, Paul, if you're still there. M1PVC from GW0FZY.
GW0FZY, M1PVC. Now, Justin, still here. I said I'd sign this time round, just so that I can give Ian a report. Ian, you're 15 over. Good to hear you. Sounding good, your rig. And, well, just as Trevor said before, conditions actually standing up very well. And Ian, yes, Trevor's signal has come up for you guys basically because of propagation. Just of late we've had significant changes in propagation, which has meant that the long skip has been very much in the running, and the short skip stations very difficult. This morning we had the situation where I could hear Ian in France, but Brian and Ian Brian in Guernsey, Ian in France couldn't hear anything from each other early on. So the shorter distances have been pants, and the longer distances have been very good. Plus the fact that some of the rigs that Trevor's been using have been capable of a full legal power, which before he was more prone to come on some of the, what should we say, smaller stuff. Although having said that, the 618T, which is used for a long while, although it's only a single sideband reinserted carrier, still produces a 100 watts carrier, but only with the one sideband, so again power strictly is down. Anyway, good to hear you guys. I'll leave you to it. 7-3 to you, Martin, and we'll catch you further down the log, guys. Have a great day, and watch the gremlins. Today's date, they're about. G6 TVJ, M1PVC. Signing, listening just for a short while, guys, and then going QRT. The frequency's yours.
G6 TVJ. Okay there, Paul. Thanks very much for that. Great morning to you. Thanks for the report there. About 15 over 9. That's not bad. You're about 15 over 9 as well, actually, I think. So that's probably not bad for this time of day. But there we are. Well, fine on the gremlins. I've had a lot of trouble with them with a relay, and I've been playing around my homebrew. I'm on the DX-100 at the moment, by the way, but I've been playing around my homebrew linear amplifier that consists of two PL519s, and I contrived a mechanism for discharging the HT when it's sort of keyed off. But the problem is that when I key the thing off, a contact closes on the HT and discharges it, which is fine, but those contacts mustn't open until the HT is fully discharged, otherwise the relay will arc, because it's only a normal relay, and I've managed to wreck 3 relays trying to do that. But I've got a different relay in there now, and I just have to remember to be very disciplined how I key this thing on and off. So, yeah, we all seem to suffer from gremlins. The other problem I got is that I got a massive signal coming back into my receiver. I've got, actually it's okay with the DX-100. There's a relay in the DX-100 that supplies the receiver. So I have got an issue with too much RF getting back into my receiver when I'm in transmit mode. I'm running the risk of damaging my receiver, because the S meter goes right off the scale when I'm transmitting. But I'm happy to say at the moment it's only saying about plus 60, which is reasonable considering it's sat in the shack. But there we are. An 813s. Well, I've not had the experience of 813 myself, but minus 160 sounds like a very low negative voltage for cut-off. But I don't know whether he's perhaps got too much screen grid voltage. I've been playing around with this linear of mine. I found the valves are very difficult to cut off. I initially had too high a screen voltage, about 300 volt screen voltage on a PL519, and the thing would just, you couldn't cut the thing off. The thing was just so lively. You had to have a really ridiculously negative voltage, and now I've got the screen voltage. It's only about 130 volts. Of course, the parameters for using it as a linear amplifier are completely different to how it was as a sweep tube and a colour TV. So it's now on a much higher HT voltage, which I guess sort of sucks the electrons off the cathode, so you don't need quite the same screen voltage. So I wonder if his screen voltage is too high on his 813s. But there we are. Anyway, round to you, Justin. I won't keep you if you're busy and things. I just heard you on and just thought I'd say hello, really. So I expect you're a busy chap. If you got to go, no worries, and I can go get me breakfast. But anyway, I'll put it round to you, Justin, and see how you are this morning. From G6 TVJ.
GW0 FZY returning. Yep. Okay then, Ian. Very nice copy, by the way. The band is really quietened down a bit now, and it's a lot easier to hear people. As Paul was saying this morning, it was a bit of hard work. I think the skip, it's definitely all due to the skip and everything, because I was battling to hear some of the sort of the closer stations who traditionally come in very loud, and Trevor was booming in, because I'm like you, I don't normally hear Trevor, or I battle to hear him. He's usually in about 5 and 5 or 5 and 6, but I would guess he was probably about 10 over 9, if not more. So a very good signal actually. But there you go. Yeah, it's all noted about the 813. Yeah, this linear that I've got. It's quite an interesting setup actually, because I think I started it up as a grounded grid. And I don't think, and then I sort of changed it to put some screen volts on it, but I don't know, it didn't work quite as well with screen volts. So the screen grid is grounded. The grid 1 is basically biased, and it's cathode driven. It's got the inputs into the cathode. So it's a bit of a funny setup, but it does seem to work quite well. I did experiment. I think the original circuit diagram has sort of been, well, excuse the term, but it's been bastardized, so to speak. And it's not quite the original. I've sort of like tweaked it, and it's a bit of an unusual. It's not quite standard. Let me put it like that. And but having said that, it all works extremely well in its current form. But there's a glitch on that relay. I think when we were talking yesterday, I just suddenly cut out. I think it's the changeover relay in the amp. I think it's not working. So I have to sort it out. I'm actually using I'm using my exciter, the CW rig, with the EL34 modulator, the one with the EM86, I think it is, tuning display. So I'm using that this morning, and running about 25 watts carrier. So this actually is really, I'm quite pleased with this rig that I built up in all these old aircraft boxes. It actually works quite well. The VFO didn't really work, but at the moment it's crystal controlled, and it's fairly solid. You can talk for hours on this, and it works. It works really well. Anyway, what else can I tell you? Not much. I'll be going down. My dad phoned yesterday. The funeral for my mum's on next week after next, 25th. So I'll have to take some time off work and go down for that. It's all pretty doom and gloom there, but I think my dad's holding up. But anyway, these sort of things happen, I suppose. Anyway, so got that to do. Other than that, I'm not doing much the weekend. I'm not doing it today, so I'm just going to be sort of chilling out. I wanted to put up my 40-meter dipole today, but the weather's not great. But it never is in Swansea, so I might just have to suck it up and go outside and do that today. I think it's just a question of lowering one of lowering the tenor mast actually, just to put it on there, and I've got a pulley on the tower, so hopefully should be able to get that dipole up, and it'll give me a coverage for 40, which I haven't had for a while. Anyway, I'll put it over to you. I think Paul said he signed. He might still be listening, but I'll put it over to you then, Ian. G6 TVJ GW0 FZY.
G6 TVJ returning. Okay there, Justin. I'm just fiddling in my receiver. There's quite a bit of sideband distortion this morning, so I'm listening to you on synchronous detection, which was improving things quite a lot. But of course, when I key up, I then get a whistle. But there we are. Fine. Well, the weather here is not very good. It's all grey and overcast, but I don't think it's raining at the moment. So hopefully I can get out on my bicycle a bit later on. And fine on the 813. Well, I guess the bias, if it's in triode mode, I guess the bias would be perhaps a bit different. Perhaps wouldn't require quite so much negative bias when the screen grid is grounded, but don't really have much experience for 813. Two scary volts. 1,000 volts is enough for me at the moment, and enough trouble with 1,000 volts, let alone double that again. But there we are. Well, what you're on now is sounding very good, Justin. You're almost 20 over 9. Mod doesn't sound bad, and a good transmission. So the setup you've got there with the EL34s, that's working very well. I think perhaps you're getting better results than what I've had with my EL34s. Which is sort of work in progress. At some point I'm going to come back to that and reinstate the sort of homebrew transmitter, but for now I'll stick with the DX100. The trouble with DX100 is it's so convenient because it's all just in a nice box. My homebrew efforts consist of a number of different things all interconnected, perhaps a bit like what you've got in your shack, but a one-box solution is quite convenient to use, and of course it still has a separate receiver, of course a single transceiver. Of course you just connect an aerial to it. You forget how simple that is. When you get a modern rig and connect an antenna to it and off you go. You haven't got all these interconnected boxes and amplifiers and changeover relays and all that nonsense. But there we are. Put your antenna up. Well, I hope you get the weather for that. Perhaps I'll see if I can copy you on 40. I've got my loop is still standing in the garden, the 40-meter loop antenna, so never know, might see if I can pick you up on that sometime. But if you're at a loose end on Sunday and you fancy Sunday lunch, Paul and I would be up for the normal Sunday lunch sketch in the Shepherd if you're up for it, but fully understand if you've got other things sort of on your mind there, but there we are. Anyway, perhaps I'll better sort of get on down for breakfast and carry on with a few things. I'm going to play around this sideband setup this morning because I've got this problem with the changeover relay, so I'm trying to identify why there's so much RF getting back into my receiver. So you might hear a few whistles and pops on 3615. I hope to perhaps try and make the sideband net this evening with this setup. I'm getting about 200 watts PEP out of it now, so I've got managed to sort of double the power from the linear amplifier by increasing the HT volts, sort of relays and arcing emitting. But there we are. Anyway, Justin, I'll put it over to you for perhaps for a final there, and then I'll be off to get some breakfast. But I'll probably still be listening from G6 TVJ.
W0 XHO.
W0 FZY returning. Yep, solid copy there, Ian. Once again. Yep. Yeah, I'll probably make this my final as well. Actually, I'm going to crack on with the few jobs around here. Yeah. Regarding Sunday, I'll have a word with Elise. Yeah, maybe it might be worth coming over on Sunday for a pub lunch. I'm just trying to think. Not much engine activity here at the moment. I'm just sort of sorting things. I've been sorting things out, dismantling some boxes and stuff. So I've got this huge pile of junk on the floor, all the sort of discarded bits that I don't want. I was pulling apart one of those GBS spares things yesterday. It's a bit disappointing, really. There's not really an awful lot in them that's worth keeping. I think, considering how much I paid for, because we paid quite a bit for the last haul of junk. But I think I didn't choose very wisely. I think I just pulled a load of big black boxes, which I thought were bound to have some juicy bits in them. And to be quite honest with you, most of it I'm discarding it. Most of it's stuff you can't really use. It's all like these funny magnetic transformers, from autopilot units. And the last box I've been working on, the only thing that's really of any value is it's just got loads of old Colburn potentiometers in it. And those are probably about the only thing that's worth keeping. The rest of it's things like, what do they call it? Those old rectifiers, selenium rectifiers, and all those sort of things. And there was a few relays. I've got hundreds of those relays anyway. A bit disappointing, really. I think next time we go in January, I'm going to have to be a bit more selective, I think, in what bits I take. I've got a few those small modules which are full of CV4014s. So I pulled one of those apart and basically just took the valve bases out of it, because that was all that was worth keeping. So I've got quite a nice store of valve bases now, for like those B9A valve bases, and also the 7-pin ones, or 8-pin ones, I can't remember, 8 pins, yeah, whatever. But anyway, got a load of valve bases. My stock of valve bases has gone up. It's a bit disappointing. But I've got some nice chassis to keep me going, which is good. Anyway, I'll probably go QRT now as well, and just do a few jobs. Might try and get this dipole up once the rain stops. So I'll put it over to you for a final then, Ian. Nice to have a chat, and hope to catch you again pretty soon. And good luck with the SSB rig there as well. So over to you, Ian, for any final comments. G6, TVJ, GW0, FZY.
G6, TVJ, yeah, okay, Justin. I think John was there, MW0XHO. If you're still there, John, if you want to go ahead, very good morning.
Yep, I am here, and I've actually been listening for a few minutes, and I thought I'd just call in and say hello. Thanks for bringing me in. And my first comment is that the conditions here are just so good today, and not necessarily, the signals aren't necessarily hugely strong, they're just so clear. We've got an absolutely silent band at my end today, so you can hear everything really, really nicely. And I'd like to throw a few comments in about the things you've been talking about, like changeover systems and the high voltage on these 813s. As you're probably aware, I have hefty equipment with 813s in, and they usually, in ex-government equipment, they're operating between 1,500 and 2,500, so extremely lethal. First thing to check before powering any of them up is that the bleeder resistors chain is fully intact, to make sure that everything dissipates, and have a good earthing stick if you want to get in there. And you need an old-fashioned Avro, because they've got a 3,000 volt DC range, so you can check the thing out, which is very handy. And you were saying about the noise from your transmitter coming up in the receiver. And I built, when I first had quite a fast-acting Raycall high-powered transmitter, I found that it would trip if the changeover relays weren't closed on the antenna before the RF came up. It would think it didn't see an aerial. So I made a kind of, out of some surplus bits from one of the rallies, with a few coaxial relays,
I made a changeover system that had a relay just to swap the aerial over from the transmitter to the receiver, and then another relay which short-circuited the receiver line totally in case something went wrong and it got a dose of RF up the receiver line. And I backed that up with two crossed over power diodes, which make sure no voltage over sort of 0.6 or so ever gets down the aerial line to the receiver. And then I made a gadget which had a little master keying box, really, in a way, which has a microphone plug on the back and 3 sockets as well, one for the changeover relay, one for the muting line, and one for the mic and key to the transmitter. And I put a little pick in there to stagger the timing on the 3 relays so that you'd always sure that the changeover system was fully over before the transmitter keyed up. Only a few milliseconds, but it sort of made a big difference. Anyway, that's what I was going to go on about. Sorry to say so much when I should be listening to you. It's MW0XHO, and I know there's only Justin and Ian on now, and I don't know who's next. Perhaps one of you pick up and tell me if you're receiving me okay.
G6 TVJ. Okay, John, well, you're a very good signal, 20/9 signal. I need a changeover relay. When you come on, I need a relay that shorts out my antenna so to stop you damaging my my S meter. But yeah, fine on those comments. I'm very impressed by if you've got a PIC microcontroller controlling your antenna changeover with all that RF floating around your shack. I think that's very impressive to get something like that to work. But I'm up at the moment. It's fine. I've got about. I might have a faulty cable or something, because at the moment I'm on the DX100, and that's got an internal changeover relay, which was a mod that somebody put in, and it's fine. But one combination of equipment in the shack, and I've definitely got an issue which I need to perhaps explore a bit later on. But there we are. I'll perhaps put it round to Justin. But I think there's another station there. Actually, I just heard another brake station. So I'll put it round to Justin with a pause, and I wonder who that is. But nice to hear from you this morning anyway, John, and a lovely signal. From G6 TVJ.
GW0FZY returning. Yep, okay then, Ian. I didn't hear anybody on the pause there. Didn't hear anybody. But yeah, very good morning to you, John. Yeah, booming in here as usual. No problems at all. And yeah, it's all okay on the comments there. Yeah, yeah. Well, I've got the setup here is all home brew, big heavy duty power supply, and the PA which I normally use, which I modulate, is 2813s in parallel. But yeah, all points noted about that. Yeah, you do have to respect the high voltage. In fact, this power supply that I've got. It's got a really fantastic transformer in it, which I found off eBay, and it actually does. I think it must have been built for something that had an 813 in it, because it's a single transformer, and it's got the heater winding for an 813, which is 10 volts at 5 amps. I think that's right. I always get it confused. 10 volts at 5 amps. It's got a screen grid winding, which is something like 350 350 at a sort of like 150 or about 150 milliamps. It's got a negative bias winding, which is about 150 volts, and it's got and the HT is 1000 at an amp. So it's an almighty transformer. Which I actually switch. I don't actually. I mean, I have. When I built this amp originally, I actually used to run the 813s at 2.8 kV. You get a bit more power out, but I don't run it at that. I actually run it at much less. I turn the HT voltage right down to about 1200 volts. So when I run this exciter, I usually get about 100 watts out of it, which is, you don't really want too much more than that. And it works really well. I modulate the HT with this this modulator, which has two 811s in it. So that setup usually works, but that's the one with the glitch in it at the moment, which I've got to sort out. I've had problems with changeover relays before. I used to use these little Jennings vacuum relays, but I've been disappointed with those. I've found that they sometimes don't always, they tend to give up the ghost. So I think I'll have to see what I've got lying around and see if I may need to replace it. Anyway, I won't go on too long. I did say I was going to go QRT, so I better do that. But nice to hear you on, John, and that you are a very good signal. I'll put it over to you, and I'll say 73s to you and Ian. So over to you then, John. MW0XHO from GW0FZY, signing, listening just for a few more minutes.
MW0XHO from GW0FZY. Lovely transmission there. That transformer you're describing certainly sounds like a beast, and some of those transformers for this high voltage valve stuff, you know, they're very heavy, aren't they? You know, it takes some lifting, and you need hefty racks to hold them. The other advantage with this sort of completely separate keying relay box with the well, that's only little relays in there, you know, to work the main changeover systems with the pick in it, is that if you've got when you're operating various different receivers and different transmitters, all they need to be connected to the controlling keying box is their own custom lead sort of thing. So each of the little relays in the keying box has open and closed contacts brought out to a sort of stereo 1/4-inch jack socket. So you can make a lead which will either close the contact or open the contact for the receiver or the transmitter, and then when you're swapping to another receiver, provided they've got their own lead, you can just plug straight in and away you go. Get muting and you get keying on the transmitter. That's been very handy. Anyway, I better go and do some work as well. It's great to hear you guys on, and hopefully we'll catch you tonight on the sideband net. MW0XHO. Over to Ian, and this is probably going to be my last round. Over to you, Ian.
G6TVJ, okay, John. All received. You know that some QSB tried to get you then. You actually dipped to about to about +10, about 10 over 9, and then you came back up again. But anyway, yeah, all interesting stuff there, and I'll do a little bit of tinkering around this morning, perhaps with some of those thoughts. But anyway, nice to hear from you, John. And yeah, I'd be interested in a sideband report tonight, because I say this is a homebrew sideband setup, and I've been playing around with it extensively yesterday. So as long as it survives, I'm tempting fate trying it out on Friday the 13th. But there we are. Anyway, I wish you all the best this morning, and to you as well, Justin. And hope to catch you guys later. So I wish you both 73s. This is G6TVJ going QRT for now, but might be doing some tests a bit later on. From G6TVJ.
73s from Conway.
Yep, cheers Ian, cheers John.